Hey, vinyl community, it's James back for another video on the Blue Note 4000 project. Thanks again for Sherv and Dave and all the leaders for letting me participate. I'm really happy about this one. One of my all-time favorites. Andrew Hill, Judgment. This is number 4159 in the series. Um, I don't know where to begin about this one. This is a landmark LP for me in my life. This came out was recorded in January 8th, 1964. Andrew Hill, Bobby Hutcherson, Richard Davis, and Elvin Jones. And I think it's probably, in terms of my review of it, for me, it's probably better just to talk about the impact this made on me. So about 25 years ago, I think, when I first started listening to jazz music and buying jazz music and really expanding my musical tastes, when I first started buying jazz, it was a lot of, Gene Ammons, Ben Webster, Dexter Gordon, Grant Green, what I would call, not to detract from it, but, basic jazz, just straight ahead, hard bop, lots of rhythm, finger snapping, toe tapping, soul jazz, all these kinds of things. And then at some point, I don't know how I learned about this or why I initially went for it, but Judgment, it's a kind of record where it completely opened my eyes to music that I had never knew existed. I remember a number of months ago, Norman Maslow did a video about albums and music that blew him away, and lots of people followed up on that. And I've always thought about, even before I joined the VC, about a video about music that, quote, opened my eyes. And to me, there's a little bit of a difference. There's a nuance. Certain records can blow me away, but they don't necessarily open my eyes to new possibilities. This thing opened my eyes to new possibilities. First of all, just the instrumentation, piano, vibes, bass, and drums. There's not a lot like it. There's Bobby Hutcherson solo records, Bobby Hutcherson records as a leader that a lot of you know about. He did quite a few of those. But there's not a lot of albums with that instrumentation. And it gives this really special coloring and flavor to it that you don't find on a lot of other music of any genre, really. And in fact, that was the thing when I first heard this record. My closed-minded view of what, quote, jazz was completely shattered, and it really opened up my eyes to the idea of, like, okay, wow, there's a lot of different things that can happen, not just in music and jazz, in life, really. I remember just putting this thing on and just laying there, and being mesmerized with the flavoring of this music. Andrew Hill had done, I think, one or two albums as a leader before this. Point of Departure, I can't remember if that came out afterwards or not, but I know he did Blackfire. Bobby Hutcherson, Richard Davis, and Elvin Jones. Elvin Jones, in a way, is, I don't want to say he seems like the leader on here, but and I know this isn't probably exactly correct, but 1964. So I think Elvin Jones had been out of the Coltrane unit for not a long time when this came out. I think he had left that band in '63 or something. I'm not exactly sure, and I'm probably getting it wrong, or I might be getting it wrong. And he had done a lot of projects as a sideman since then on Blue Note and other labels. But his drumming on here, with Coltrane, he played with so much power and finesse. Here, he's, you can really hear his dexterity and the subtlety of his drumming, and I think he displayed more of his capabilities as a drummer on this album. Showed his range because he really carries this album. Although Richard Davis and it's almost hard to say who's carrying it, but Elvin, in a very nuanced way, is sort of the driving force of a lot of this music. And it's considered maybe an avant-garde record because of the unique time changes and structures. It's there's very sharp edges to it. There's nothing again so there's not a lot of basic standard or traditional rhythms to this. But the thing is, a lot of avant-garde music, even though I like a lot of it, sometimes you have to think about it while you're listening to it. It could be sometimes a little intellectual, but this one, for me at least, I really feel it. There's a lot of feeling here. It's not overly intellectual, even though it's pushing the limits, avant-garde type of thing. Just gorgeous. Some of the songs, well, the opening track, Sete Ocho, it's wow. To me, it could almost be part of a soundtrack of a film noir type of film. There's lots of mystery and depth to that song with that walking bass line that Richard Davis, he starts it off with this walking bass line, and it just kicks into this track, and you're instantly captivated. I mean, even though I said it's a film noir, it sounds like film noir. For me, in a sense, it could almost be, and maybe because it's the title, Sete Ocho, it almost seems like it could be something set in a Spanish film, going through dark alleys looking for somebody, looking for a mysterious person. I don't know. It's amazing. I'm not going to go through every track here, but again, it just has this certain mystery to this music, and the flavorings, again, the crisscross of Andrew Hill and Bobby Hutcherson, that piano vibe. It's like these two seasonings in a low simmer water that just create this really magical sound. Again, there's not much like it, and that's why for me this record, Judgment, stands out. It's a really unique record, and I often think about you see these lists of, hey, if you're just starting out with jazz, here's 10 records to start your collection with, and you see the basics like Dave Brubeck and Kind of Blue and Blue Train, and there's like a Sonny Rollins and people like that, which are all fine and good. But I think whoever's writing these lists, if they know what they're talking about, they should include some more challenging music too, to expose people. And I think this should go up there. Judgment. For my money, I guess this is hard to say, but in the entire Blue Note catalog, for me, this is probably in my top 5 records, I think. And maybe not just Blue Note, just jazz in general, or maybe music in general. It's incredible. Another track that stands out for me. There's 6 songs, by the way. 3 songs each side. Long exploratory compositions. Andrew Hill wrote all of them. He's the author of all 6 of these tracks. First song, side 2, Alfred, named after Alfred Lyon, is this. I don't even know if I'd call it a ballad, but it's one of the most. One of the slowest, most contemplative tracks. It almost seems like, especially Bobby Hutcherson and Andrew Hill, are barely touching their instruments, And it made me think of, there's a documentary out there, and I'll see if I can find the link. There's a documentary called No Hawks, No Doves. I think that's it. I'm getting the name wrong, but it's actually a documentary about doom metal. Um, and I think someone in that documentary, it might be Wino from who was in a lot of different bands, Saint Vitus, and some other bands. But he was saying in that documentary that you don't have to play loud to be heavy. And what he was getting at is it's the feeling of the music. It could be an acoustic guitar and it could be heavy. And this music is heavy. Again, not volume wise, but just there's a heaviness to it, but not in volume, but just in emotion, and the way it feels. And I'll try to find that documentary if any of you are interested in checking out that documentary. So, Andrew Hill, Judgment, Blue Note. What is this again? 4159. Andrew Hill. My copy is it's a 1994 Blue Note reissue. I think I was talking to Julius Jabbar about this a while ago, that of all the Blue Note reissues that have been coming out, all the different pressings for the last 20 years or so, these mid 90s pressings to me are the best. There's a heaviness to the vinyl, really beautiful pressings, nice cardboard. The later ones just haven't. Sometimes they're just not that good, for a lot of reasons. So yeah, Andrew Hill, Judgment. I'm rambling now. If you don't have this record and you're not familiar with it, I urge you to listen to it. It's on Spotify. I'm sure it's on YouTube as well. You don't see this record a lot in stores, really at all. I mean, ever since I got it, I don't think I've ever seen another copy of it, of any release. So Andrew Hill, he's the man. It's amazing stuff. Judgment, again, Bobby Hutcherson, Richard Davis, and Elvin Jones. So check it out, 4159. And thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys another time. All right, later.